Okay, all right. I npm installed it. I'm going to take that script tag out. It's really annoying.
Does the placement of your script tag there matter or at the bottom?
It might. Maybe I put it in the bottom last time. It does? All right.
Justin, you removed the script tag?
Nope. You won't need that script tag though.
Yeah. I don't know. I might try playing around with that later. But all right, so I npm installed Axios. I pulled the script tag out. It seems to be working. Take a look at the console.log. Getting a error here. So is my server running? I don't think I got way too much crap going on here. So just refresh this. Okay, all right. So I know that was a lot of stuff I was doing there, but okay, let me just rehash. So I got this method here, get jobs. Let's make an AJAX request. I npm installed Axios. So now, and then I'm calling this.getJobs here. So this is the object that is coming back. So it's one of these console logs. I'm getting a status of 200 in there. So it's the successful one. So then if we open this up, there's my jobs. Where's my horse whisperer? Oh, there's my horse one. Yeah, I like horse whispering. Okay. Are you guys still following me? Do you want me to? Yeah, trying to. Some people are coding, some people are not. So. Yeah, if you get stuck, like raise your hand, and Dezay and Bradford will come around. I should have mentioned that like an hour ago.
No, I was just gonna say. You're good. Yeah. Stop doing the coding. Okay. What's that?
You're screen recording.
Okay.
Follow on.
Hopefully, it wasn't in that space.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
npm install and take that tag out. And then npm install
I just did this talk last week, and the damn script tag worked. I got to go back and look at the code for that. Let's see, where did I put the script tag?
Okay, so worked.
There is like
Okay. So we're putting that method. So we're calling the method that getJobs inside the constructor. So let's stop for a second and think about what React is doing at this point. So the component is, if we go back, they're actually right here. So we can see super is being called, then we're calling this.getJobs, and we're rendering. This is all happening at the same time. So let's say for this example, the internet is down, right? And I'm making a AJAX request to something that is on the internet. Well, we're going to have a problem because we're not getting our data back. So you never want to do an AJAX, you never want to call an AJAX request in your constructor. You want the component to mount, you want your end user to see something, and then you want to do an AJAX request. Does that make sense? So this goes back to the life cycle, so the event loop. So there's an event loop that is used for like the life of a component. I think you were asking that. So actually, it's 2:42, and I think I said I was going to go to 2:30. I keep going, right? Yes. What else? What else do you guys have going on today?
finishing this.
Finishing this. All right.
Today's Q3 Q3 project.
What you guys are presenting?
No, we're doing proposals.
Proposals. Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
And a lot of us are using React.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why I'm here. Okay. All right. It's all coming together. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So You actually do not want to call this in the constructor. I'm going to put this here. So there are a number of different life cycle methods that you can use for the life of your component. Most of these I have no idea what they do, and I've never seen them used before. So when the app is rendered, we've already seen the render method. The render is what mounts the app onto the DOM. Let's see, I think that's the only one that we've seen. Okay, so you can see like the flow here of like stuff happening here, you're getting state. You don't have to really worry about that. The render is what you're concerned about. So the AJAX request needs to actually happen after the render. Otherwise, like the end user might not get anything, or the end user, or like there could be a race condition where you don't have the data back, and it's trying to do something with the data on the DOM when you don't have it. So you actually want the DOM to render, or you want the component to render, and then you may put like a placeholder there, or maybe like a spinner or something like that. So just something that indicates to the end user that, oh, something's supposed to happen here in case, there's, the internet is like slow, or you're on Starbucks internet or something like that. So we do the render, and then the AJAX request, like, will go in the component did mount. So this is an event that is indicating the component mounted, and now we can do something else. So props change and state change, we'll talk about that in a second. Unmounting is like when you pull the component off the DOM for whatever reason. But render, putting the component on the DOM, and then there's an event that gets fired, component did mount, then we do our AJAX request. Does that make sense?
So this all happens after the DOM is ready, so to speak.
Yeah. So going back, you guys can actually read these here, but so the AJAX request, again, it should happen in the component did mount. So we can add that method to our app. And we can take that out there. So now we have this method. React knows about this method behind the scenes. So what happens now is we're going through here. The actual constructor gets called. Render gets called. We put the component onto the DOM. Then component did mount gets called, which calls the AJAX request. I always put I know it's confusing, like the order here. I always put the render last. And I think you'll more often than not see that in examples. That's why I put the render last. I like to have like sort of like constructor first, lifecycle methods second, methods that I create, get jobs, and then I like to have the render. And like I was saying, more often than not, you'll see examples like that. So I know the order is off based on what's happening right now, but for like organization, it's a little bit easier to read. So constructor, render, then the end user sees something, AJAX request happens, and then we're not doing anything with the AJAX request right now. We're just console logging it, but we want to actually do something with it.
I'm getting a hint in the console here that says useless constructor. Is a constructor required?
I don't know.
So, from what I understand, I think constructor is not required in general. Like, if you had like a library of ES6 classes in your app, if they're non-React related, you might very well make like some classes that don't have a constructor that are like a namespace or like you're using for other stuff. But like thinking of like what Mike was saying with this, I think you'd almost always need to use constructor and super for a React component, but class in general in ES6 you don't necessarily need a constructor.
Yeah, I mean, this is working without it, but I'm not really doing anything with my constructor right now besides calling super, which calls all the methods and properties inside component. And I guess like React is not using any of them. It's hard to answer that because I don't 100% know what create React app is doing behind the scenes. And that's like goes to a problem with boilerplates in general. Like I don't really trust boilerplates that I don't create because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I like this boilerplate because like React is a nightmare behind the scenes. So you really get to a point where it's like a lot of times you need to really know what's happening behind the scenes in order to like really like troubleshoot it and obviously answer these questions. But super might be still getting called behind the scenes. I think you had figured that out, like right?
I just said without it, you don't have access to props, like the sub props.
Yeah, there's like if you have a subcomponent here and you need access to props, and we'll talk about props in a second. If you don't have your constructor, it's not going to pull down props, and it's probably not going to pull down any methods as well.
To bind this also.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right, so you were getting an error though.
Well, it was just a warning, it wasn't an error. It says useless constructor.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm getting that too. So yeah, I mean you'd want to put like a prop in there, so that'll probably make it go away. So
Okay, yeah, I was just curious if it was, like you said, ES6 thing or React.
that error is actually from your linter. So create React app is you notice behind the scenes there's hot reloading. So you make a change, and then when you make a change, it like Babel does its thing, Webpack does its thing, it refreshes the DOM, and it's also doing a linter. So if I I'm surprised that console.log is not throwing an error because this is using like a very strict linter. But so I mean, if I took out the print or the it's not throwing an error. I don't know how the linter is set up, but it's like that's just a linting error there. Okay, so all right. So let's go ahead and do something with this the data that's coming back. So we're introducing state now. So we need to add state, which is literally just an object. That's all it is, to our constructor, and then we can update our state. We'll talk about what that means in just a second. So I add this to my constructor, and let me update my .then. So let's talk about what this is doing. So I have this object here, this .state, it's just a property. I can call jobs whatever I want. It doesn't have to be jobs, it's just jobs because that makes sense in this case. It could be anything. I can call it Michael, whatever, it doesn't matter. So we'll have access to state anywhere we have a class-based component. In this case, what we're doing right now is with this .set state, we are taking the data back from our AJAX request. So I'm parsing this. So res.data.data is the actual array of jobs, and then I'm updating state. Let's talk about what that means, updating state. So do you guys know the term immutability, if I can pronounce it right? Okay, what does that mean?
Unchangeable.
It's unchangeable.
That's what we use const for, right? It's supposed to be an immutable value.
Const is not immutable. You can't reassign, but you can change properties. So it's similar. You can't if I say const Michael equals Herman, I can't reassign Michael to something else, but I can change properties on it. So it's not truly immutable, it's getting closer to it, but you can mimic properties. Like if it was an object, I could change like a property on there, or key value or whatever. But you're on the right track. So React uses the concept of immutability pretty strictly. So what is really happening here is we're getting the AJAX request, we're taking the object, when this .set state gets called, we're taking that object, and we're basically putting it into memory, and then we're completely wiping out state, and then reassigning. Reassigning isn't the best word, but we're not updating state. You never update state. It's always getting wiped out, and a new object is getting put there. Does that make sense? So it's like, in this case, it's not like pushing the jobs into the array. It's just wiping this out, completely wiping it out, and then setting the state again with the actual jobs that are coming back. So it's really important to understand that, not really for this app, but in the future when you're working with like bigger apps. It's also set state. This looks like a synchronous method. It's actually asynchronous. Most of the time, you're going to see this used like this without a callback. You can put a callback on here, and that will create problems if like you're like streaming in a bunch of data, and then you try and call this set state synchronously, and you don't have all the data back. So if you are making an AJAX request or like connecting to a stream, and you're getting a bunch of data back, you should put a callback on here.
So whenever we're doing this, we're putting this in .then, like on purpose to make it synchronous, but then you only want to have like a one-liner in there essentially, and then if you want another, you do another .then.
So this .then is associated with Axios. This .set state, I don't actually know what the syntax is going to look like, but you know, it's going to be something like that, where you have a callback on there. So I'm not even putting the callback on there. This is not the right syntax, but it's going to be something close to that. But you can pass an optional callback in here. I feel like with JavaScript methods, like most of the time, you can put a callback on there if you want. And it's just like, oh, hey, yeah, we take a callback sometimes if you want.
Right, but if you were just going to do another request, another AJAX request, then you just, oh, never mind.
Yeah, separate the set state with the AJAX request. So right now, like I got the data back, and now I need to update the state of React. And this .set state is asynchronous. There's a lot of other problems with this .set state, and that's where Redux comes into play. Redux like solves some of the problems with this .set state, but since we're not using Redux, we have to use this .set state. So AJAX request, getting the data back here. Obviously, this is a terrible person because I'm not handling this correctly, but just for their demo purposes is fine, I guess. And then we are updating the state here. Why do you think that I put this, setting this as an array here? Any ideas? I think I could put this as like test. I think I can do that. That's fine.
Well, the data we're getting back is an array.
Data we're getting back is an array, so yeah, it's like kind of like an indicator to like the developer or somebody that like, okay, this is probably going to be an array. Yeah, that's a good answer there. Actually, you'll be able to answer this question a little bit better in a second. So let me go on. So yeah, this .set state adds that state property. We're setting out to an empty array, and then yeah, the set state is an asynchronous function that is actually updating the state. Okay, so let's update the render method. So let's get our jobs onto the DOM at this point. So I am accessing that property, this .state, and then calling jobs. So this .state.jobs is going to be that empty array. So that's why I'm setting it to that empty array. Because this render method, remember, it fires right away before the AJAX request occurs. So this is getting rendered with nothing. And then component did mount fired. Then the AJAX request is firing. Then it's updating state. So if I did not have this as an empty array, the map is going to blow up. It's going to explode, right? You can't map over. You have to map over the interval. Interval. So that's why. That's another reason why this is set as an empty array. All right. So,
So like, just to clarify, at this point in time, after we make our AJAX request, this has data in the jobs array, correct? And this is how we're allowed to do this .state.jobs.map to that data?
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Yeah, definitely on the right track there. Or definitely right, yeah. So right now we're accessing this state.jobs, we're mapping through it, and I'm assigning each individual element its job, and so here's where I'm creating my LI now. So I'm returning the LI, I'll talk about key in just a second, but job.title, if we go back to what the job looks like, where the hell is my, there it is. So job.title is going to be each individual title. So does that make sense? Yeah, this is like it's looking really weird. To be honest, like the first time I like started working with React, like it took like 10 times for me to create an app before like this became comfortable. Like I look at this sometimes and just like, what the hell? No. And sometimes I'm like, oh yes, that's so nice, yes. But it depends on like if I'm working with Angular 1 and then I go to React, I just like it takes a while for me to adjust.
So in your set state here, that's, you've got, I mean, it's basically inline JavaScript.
Ah, good question. So inside here, yes, this is JavaScript. Actually, if we go back down to here, this will answer your question better. So right here, I have curly braces. This allows me to put JavaScript in here. You can put whatever you want in here. You can put a console log. You can do anything you want. But in order to put JavaScript in here inside your JSX, you have to actually put the curly braces. Yeah.
So then, what does that look like on the page where it renders?
So on page.
You're just gonna have job ID, job title.
So just that there. So if I open this up, let's see what's actually going on here. So, like in the index.html, I just have that, div with an ID of root. We open that up, and here is the actual component. So we open up the component, then we have the h1. So h1 is over here, and then there's my UL with the job title in it. So this key is for React. React keeps track of things behind the scenes. So going back to Angular, when you're like looping through things, what is that directive called? ng repeat. So ng repeat, like weird things can happen. Like if you're like are changing things and you have a lot of data there. If you're refiring that each time, it's like rebuilding it each time, so it can get really slow really quick. So there is a way to like keep track of the index with ng repeat. I can't remember what it is. Does anyone know? There's a way that you can like say like have Angular keep track of it, so it doesn't re-render everything. It just re-renders that one thing. And so with React, by putting this key as a unique ID, React will keep track of this. So if I change a title, it's actually not going to it is going to re-render everything, but it's going to do it a little bit more intelligently, and it's going to be a lot faster. So this is for performance reasons. I think if you take this out, it won't throw an error, but it will throw a linting error. Oh, it's actually going to throw it. So it's just a warning. So
Oh wait,
yeah.
did you undo that? So that key is inside the list tag, right?
Yeah. It's actually on the list element
So
item.
using the job ID to pull the job title.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh shit, yes, okay, that's.
So to go on to Colter's question, the key is related specifically to the list item, not to the objects inside of it.
The key is used by React to keep track of each item. So if I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but if I re-render this, React is going to keep the same ID there. So that way it knows intelligently, oh, I don't have to re-render all billion items. I can re-render, I just need to update that one item. That's not exactly correct on how it's happening behind the scenes, but the key is like used specifically for React to keep track of things, so it can re-render stuff more intelligently. And Angular, you can do this something with Angular where you set the index. Like I can't remember what it is with ng-repeat, but there is a way to do it. Good questions. Any other questions?
So, like you're just keeping track, it's not actually ascending, descending, or anything like that, or is it? I mean,
No, it's not. Literally not doing anything at all right now. And you can use whatever you want for this. It's just like I'm getting something back from the database, that ID, that UUID, and I'm just using that as the key. You could generate your own keys here if you wanted to. It doesn't really make sense in this case to do that. But I think there is a way to have React handle this too. I don't know what it is offhand, but in this case, I'm just using the job ID because I know it's unique. So yeah, if I change this to like, what is another property? Is a description. So you can see it updated there. So cool. So we still.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
The point of the key is just to tie that li element to that specific ID, so it won't like throw a second one on or change it over time. It just stays kind of all static.
Well, there's an
No,
association.
not really.
Can you change job ID to job title, and then job title to job description, and it's still be tied together as one record?
The key has to be unique.
Okay.
So as long as the titles are unique.
It's for speed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Okay. Oops. That's not what I wanted. I'm sure like there's somebody describing this a little bit better. Listen keys, React. So a key is a special string attribute you need to include when creating a list of elements. We'll discuss why it's important in the next section. So, all right. We'll go to the next section then. Oh, there it is. Keys help React identify which items have changed, are added, or are removed. So keys should be given to elements inside the array to give the elements a stable identity. So that's what I was trying to say, but I don't know if I said it quite as elegantly as that. But yeah, it's just for React. So it's like nothing is changing on the DOM. Like it's just for React to keep track of it.
Right, and I guess my point was, can you actually change this from job.id to job.title, to job.title to job.description, and the fact that they are unique, then it should still work.
Yeah, I mean, if I put 0 there, I think it's going to throw some sort of error. Because that's not unique. So yeah, this is saying these are sharing a key now. As long as there's like some sort of unique ID there, like job.title, I guess probably is unique. I don't think I have separate titles there. So encounter 2 children with the same key. Yeah. Good call. I would have missed that. Yeah, so that's unique, so that's working. But it doesn't really make
Okay.
much sense to do that, but you could do that, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're back at that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you know something is unique, you can just pop it on there.
Okay.
It's really, React doesn't really care as long as it's unique. Okay, any other questions associated with that? Sweet. Glad. That was a tough one. All right. So what's happening? Blah, blah, blah. Blah. Yeah, key, question mark, used by React to keep track of each element. There we go. Yeah, it's good. All right. So we're using one component right now. This is not scalable. This is like, this is akin to like putting all your Angular code in one controller. It just gets messy quick. So you want to like start breaking this apart into separate components so they are reusable and so your app can scale better. So we're going to create a new component, and all this component is going to do is it's just going to render the job list. So that's its purpose. So the job list is just literally that. So that's all it's going to do. I highly recommend, like, when you're like working on your own app, just like break things apart like this. Like, this is not the end state, but this is like a step in a direction. So like now at this point, like, oh, we're running the job list that is an entire UL and LI. Oh, the LI is actually kind of complex. Let's put that into a different component. So break things up like in baby steps like this. So the convention for components is to create a components directory, and all our components are going to go in there. And so now I'm going to call this job list.jsx. So you do not have to put JSX on here. You can put JS and it's fine. In the past, when JSX first became a thing, in order for like Atom, Sublime, and all like the text editors to like understand, like give it the proper syntax highlighting, you had to put JSX on there. Up to you whether you want to do that or not. I like to do it. You'll see it both ways. So I just have a components directory, and then I'm saying job list. And it's not camel case. What kind of case is that? That's capital case?
First letter.
Okay. Okay. Capital case with .jsx. So
Is that all in the SRC folder?
yes, yeah.
You have to. Oh, here's JSX. You've obviously got some add-on or something that's
So
taking JSX.
the language down here is set as JSX. If you change the language to JSX, it should work fine. I'm surprised it wasn't picking that up to begin with.
It's a really weird question, but in terms of project breakdown, things like that, 'cause when we were looking at Angular, you know, there's kind of the desire to actually say, this is a thing, and then everything just kind of rolls up underneath it. You're going to have your controller, your, you know, like your view, that kind of thing. But with React, are you going to see more of it broken up by your components, you know, by type rather than thing? Does that make any sense?
Oh, I see. So the way that you guys were breaking up your Angular app was by controller, service, and then.
No, it was the opposite. So
Okay.
we're breaking it up by this is a thing.
Oh, I see. Okay. Really, what you'd want to eventually do is you'd have a folder inside components. It's called like job list, and then everything associated with that component is in that folder. So you could have a separate CSS file, for example, that you'd import into here that had specific CSS for that component, and you put that in that file. But really, React with JSX, you really just need to have it. It's like, think of like a component in Angular or a directive in Angular where you're putting, instead of like referencing a template, you're putting your HTML all in there.
Right.
So it's like combining everything into one. So React, the convention is to do that rather than breaking it apart.
Okay, so your job list would be a component, a name for each of the components.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, so is this a functional or class-based component? Functional, because it's a function, right? Okay, so what is that prop? So this looks very similar to what I was doing in the index.js, right? Only instead of saying state, this.state, I'm saying props. So props, you're allowed to pass things down to subcomponents with props. So I don't have access to state here, but I need the jobs in order to render this correctly, right? So what you can do is you can pass things down to child components with props. And that's exactly what I'm doing in this case. So this is taking props, and I haven't changed the index.js file, but you'll see in a second how it's connected. But literally, instead of saying this.state.jobs, I'm just saying props. And you still have access to everything that, depending on what you're passing down, you'll have access to the same sort of things that you do with the this.state.jobs.
How do you mean
pass them down, is that gonna set somewhere else, or are you required? You're just exporting the default job list, and that's how it gets access to it? I'll show you in part 2. So yeah. So why is this component a function out of class? Because this is stateless component. Okay, but how's it getting state? This is what I was saying, props. So props first state. Props data flows down. So it goes like from your parent component down to a subcomponent. It's read only. So you can't change state at all with props, which is awesome. Because your state is isolated now. It's like, I know it's touching state. I know that if like someone else is writing this component, as long as they're using a functional component, they're not going to muck up state in some other part of my app. So this is like, it's so much easier to have like 5 different developers working on a big app now if you are taking into account immutability and like using functional components correctly. So I'm passing down state. Nope, you can't change state. You can do whatever you want with it, but you can't change it. It's not going to affect any other aspect of my application. So let's go ahead and update this to pass down state. So inside my index, I need to pull in that component that I just made. So import job list from components. And so I'll just copy and paste this. Let me just update my render. We'll talk about what's going on there. Okay, so now inside my render, if we look at what's happening here, so I am referencing that job list component by saying job list. So this is just a React thing. So now this is referencing that component, which is literally everything you see here. So just literally that. And it needs the props, it needs the jobs, and so we're just passing it down as an attribute. So now I'm saying jobs, which I'm referencing on this side of things with props.jobs. So I'm adding on props, or adding on jobs to props, and jobs just happens to be the state. So it kind of makes sense how it's connected.
Yeah, you outlined the template, and then you made a call for the data, and then you called it to fill in the data by rendering the template, right? That makes sense.
Yeah. How do you split? I always forget to split. Split left, okay. So I don't know if that is better. Let's just say I'm saying, hey, render the job list component. I need access to props.jobs, and I'm passing in that. So if I change jobs, what would I change on this side? So if I change this to Happy B-Day, what would I change on this side? That would be Happy B-Day. I'm going to turn it back to jobs just because that's insanity, but okay, you get the idea. Does that make sense how that's connected?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit, yeah, you just have to like build these over and over again. So now I have, I broke this up into 2 components. One is a functional component, now I'm accessing props, and I'm passing props down into that subcomponent. And I've lost about half the damn class. But
Well, it is 3 o'clock, so I feel like some of it went up in here.
I thought the keg opened at 4.
Tree.
3? All right, we're done here. All right, let's see what else I got. Let's see what else. I mean, this is pretty much it. Basically, we're building on top of that. So going from this to what I had there before, there's a couple other things that you need to do there, obviously. So first, we're pulling on Bootstrap, right? Rendering that with Bootstrap. And then for the delete, all you need to do for the delete is just do another AJAX request. And you need an event listener on the button click. I can go into that, but it's really, I think you have all the pieces right now to be able to do that. Just like with like a click handler. So if it's like, if you want to fire a function, or like, let's say like if I have a button here, right, it would just be on click like this. So just remember it's camel case. And then from here, you'd call a method that say does an AJAX request and to your server side and like, updates the job, deletes the job, does whatever you want to do there. So
That one would have state, right?
what's that?
That one, whatever you're calling to, that method would have state, correct? Because you have to invest in the data.
Yeah, so let's say that this, let's say the method is here. So let's say it's called delete job. So, and this would be just AJAX request to delete job. So if we were calling this inside the functional component, we'd have to pass this down as props as well. So we would have to let's associate that. So we would just have to do like, convention to name them the same. So delete job equals this dot delete job. So that would be available on the props now. That makes sense? So now I'm just, in this case, I'm passing down the state of the jobs. So I can iterate through it, create my list item. And I'm also passing down this function. So on the other side of things, I can have a button and I can say like on click, and then I can say like props.delete job, pass it like the job ID, and then I can make the AJAX request on the other side of it, or I mean on this component. I can show you how to do this. I can keep going through this if you want. Yeah.
I'm here.
Your call. Whatever you want to do. I don't have anything to do. You guys probably have stuff to do. No?
Let's do it. Let's do it. I have much.
You guys want to go through it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. So delete job. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure I have access to delete job on the other side of things. Do you guys want to take a break first? Do you want me to just go right through this?
Let's power through it.
Just power through
It's
it?
their problem.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's add a button here. And let's just get the on-click functionality to work. So let me pull on Bootstrap, just because I can't look at this. Is it Bootstrap CDN? Okay. So let's just add a button here that just console logs like YOLO or something. So if I go to my component here, let me just add a button. And let me put some Bootstrap classes here. So that would be button extra small, and then like success or something. And then let's just put like delete
It's gonna be a green button.
there. Okay.
You should do it green, elite, that way.
That's what we're doing right now, and it's terrible. I'm scared. There you go. What's that MBSB? It's not breaking space.
It's just, that's Unicode for non-breaking space, yeah. Okay, I don't like that. Let's just, warning, yeah. Okay, cool. I don't like that. I want it to be red. How do I make it red?
It's not success. It's
Warning.
Yeah, warning. No, warning's yellow.
What's red?
Danger.
Danger. Yeah. Danger. You're about to do something bad. All right. So now I have my delete. So now I just want to console log something. Let's console log. Let's put an on click on here. And I think I can do a console log like this.
Hey, retest, but that's not on click.
Yeah, why didn't that work? Why is that not doing?
Does on click need to be?
On click React. Let's just take a look at it. Huh.
Wait, what's happening?
That's set up right. I'm not sure why that's firing right off the bat.
What's the problem?
The on click is on.
It's not on click, it's on reload. That's the one with that.
Yeah, according to the docs, this is like how you do it. I'm not sure why the console log is like.
We'll tell the rest of the class that you got it.
Yeah. So what are we doing? We're passing down that method. Let me look at. I don't know why this isn't working. It's bothering me.
Is it gonna run on your terminal instead of?
No, because this is client side.
And if you actually click it, it doesn't console log either. But if you run an actual function instead of just console logging something. Yeah, what if you say on click? What's that, and then the function can console log something.
And then I'm like calling the function. I guess I could do that, but
This is what the docs say. I don't know anything about React, but.
for some reason that's rendering right away. I don't know why.
Your phone go off?
Mine?
No, hers.
Oh, nah, you're fine.
Okay, whatever. All right, so I want to pass that function down. So let's see. I have my index.js, and so right now I'm saying delete job equals this dot delete job. So I'm passing this down. Let's just go ahead and test this out and see if it's working. So if this, I think there's a couple other things I have to do here, but let's just test this out by just calling props.delete job. See what happens there. And instead of saying this.delete.job, let's just do a console log in there.
Now.
Actually, what am I doing here? That wasn't right. Because I have to actually pass, sorry, I have to actually pass that down like this.
Just look at those.
Yeah, like, wait, what am I doing here? So, this right here is referencing back to delete job,
Gotcha.
and this is what's getting passed down.
So when you say this doesn't delete job, you don't need to put the parentheses to actually call the function. You just say the name of it.
Right, because we don't want to call it right now.
Okay.
We're calling it on the other side. So what we do is we'd say props delete job.
Okay. The, yeah. Okay. So I mean, are we expecting this to work if we could even get the on click to like console log?
There was something weird going on there with the console log.
You want to try this?
Yeah, let's just see if it works.
Play driver sucks.
So we're not getting an error. So there's our test.
There you go. Cool.
I think it was something with the on-click was like what you were saying was expecting a function. The syntax was right. It was just like the console log was probably like fucking with it. Yeah. So I think at this point in here, just do the AJAX request. You want to grab something though that's unique to the job. So when you make your AJAX request, you delete the right job. But you could just grab like the job ID at that point.
Let's do it. Cool.
Do you want me to keep going?
Let's do it. Fucking word at
You want to keep going? Here, you come up and do it then.
Yeah, Brent. Come on, Brent. Let's do it, bro.
You got it. I'm gonna try this.
Don't put shoes on or anything.
I wear flip-flops, Lee. Keep it chill.
All right, Brent. What are we doing?
So we're going to have to actually create this function, delete job, so that it actually does stuff instead of just console log test.
Okay,
So
what's the lead job? It's gonna take the parameters.
it's probably going to, I wouldn't imagine, no, because it's already just being passed down what's in it.
He's right. You're gonna do an Axios dot.
Axios.delete, and then I'm not.
So the endpoint is going to be API v1. That's going to be API v1 and then the job ID.
Wait,
Yeah, function.
API v1,
Same thing on line 23.
that helps
Except
me.
It's going to go to job ID.
All right. Is that, how's job ID written? Where is that?
So like slash, so like /1 or something like that.
Is there a reason? So is this a reacting that they have to be in backticks?
So no, the backticks is for that's ES6 syntax.
Great lines.
And so this allows
I think
us
when we worked together, pretty much every time I was about to tell you to do something, you were like in the process of working on it, vice versa.
It's like we finish each other's
So-
sandwiches.
I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but let's just try doing that.
All right, so let's get the first one in.
Code it in, just as like a sanity check to see if it actually works before we try and get the actual job.
Do you have auto save on there?
No.
Oh.
I think it like you
Tracking like a
just
job.
like move it So what's that error about?
It couldn't find that URL that we gave it, job/1.
What is options in?
Yeah.
If you go back and look at the code, there's like one big thing you're missing. So yeah,
It's a crony, a promise, a catch.
Not that it's another catch. Is it the exact same thing as 26 and
what's that?
Is he just gonna take those dot net and dot catches from 26 and
The set state will be different, but
It'll be job/ID or job.
just do a console log. I would just test this out with a console log to see if like it actually works.
Well, the reason I was asking is because if you delete the job, right, so you delete the job with that
That can't be right.
you just want to re-render.
You just call them instead of jobs.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's. Gotcha.
Yeah, you just do it inside that. Just call it stuff.
That's right.
Well, so you wouldn't do the dot, then you just call that function within the delete function?
Inside the dot, then you would just say this jobs.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I agree with it.
I was about to say, because I was pretty sure you had to have the dot down there, but.
So that's not console logging anything at all.
So, okay, there's a 404 error. So, delete.
Is it gonna be /job/1 or is it gonna be
Oh yeah, sorry, it is jobs.
Oh, jobs slash one.
Get out of here, clay dryer.
What's working?
So she be working.
So wait, what job got deleted? One?
Uh,
Let's just see if
clay
that
dryer,
works. So
two.
refresh it. Okay, so that's not a job that exists. I don't know what the UUIDs are.
I think those are 37,
Oh,
38.
yeah.
I found them.
Just guessing.
It's on the right side. Yeah.
So then
try hard coding 37 in there and see if it works.
oh, we're getting rid of clay dryer. You're so set on this full stack developer.
Yeah.
So now refresh the page.
There we
Clay
go.
dryer's,
Yeah.
Clay dryer's 39. Oh, okay.
Wait,
You got rid of full stack developer.
I blew it. Wait, okay. I was assuming they were in the right order. Now I read the titles. I blew it.
So now, instead of hard coding that, let's get the actual job ID from.
That should be colon ID, right?
Or, like you have to pass it. What is colon ID in that case?
Very cool. Or
But
is it-
where is that getting passed from specifically? Yeah.
And you're gonna need jobs, you're gonna need variables. An argument, the ID.
That's gonna be.
Jobs ID, and then Axios dot.
What's the resource syntax that looks like Python?
You told me to do the slide.
Yours isn't that way, man.
Yeah. You said when I was like, what's the job ID? You said jobs underscore job slide ID.
I think I
Good job, just do,
So then, would I have to change this then too?
I would
Yeah.
just say ID.
All right. Let's keep it simple. Okay.
So then, when you say it, does ID want to be in that string, or do you want to do?
So since you haven't seen the backticks, you would need to do